What's up, guys? In this arm session, I bring to you guys 60-pound standing dumbbell curls for 5. These were a real strain. I typically do these seated actually because once I hit the 60s doing them standing, started to get a little bit of tweaks in like the upper back. You can see the shoulder comes back a little bit, and I don't even necessarily know that that's strength. Because my upper back is probably one of my strongest body parts. I've done really heavy good mornings and things of that nature with the yoke bar. I honestly think that it's just the way that the weights work out in that position. And so when I'm seated, at least I can press my upper back into the pad and sort of alleviate a little bit of stress. And that's just some aches that I've always dealt with in that upper back area. I supersetted those with these board presses with an American Swiss camber bar with chains. That's a mouthful. But it's also a lot on your triceps. My whole idea with this is that I realized that I have weak as hell triceps, and it kind of like came to me as a surprise, because I've always trained my triceps directly. I'm not like a lot of other lifters who just do compounds. And despite them growing sufficiently, my long head is pretty developed compared to most lifters. I realized that I'm just fundamentally weak, and you see here, I couldn't re-rack it. Like the chains just pinned me so hard that I couldn't get it onto the J hook, and I was only a few inches off, but I couldn't lock it out, and I realized that I have a real weakness in that. It might seem like it's the top position. It's not really the top position. It's that midpoint where, the momentum really out of the bottom really slows down off the chest. I think I've gotten my chest to some decent strength on my dumbbell weights and everything. But like I said, I really think that's just not enough drive for my triceps. Here's just a different angle for the dumbbell curls. You can see I'm not really swinging into these at all. Like all I'm saying is that you can't remain in like with a forward torso while you do them with that sort of load. And that's what puts a little bit of extra stress on the upper back. But I do like how the standing position sort of taxes your core. You have to maintain your brace there. And I just find standing position movements to be, more fun. Like plain and simple, they're more fun, But oftentimes if you come to the gym and you're tired, you're fatigued, you're lazy even, the seated ones are just going to be more productive. Yeah, man, these like even when with that light load, like that isn't really a heavy weight. They still feel brutal in the lockout on those close grip benches. These are some 40-pound dumbbell preacher hammer curls with fat grips, and I've been doing these for maybe 8 months now. Like every week, maybe every other week. I find that this is just a brutal way to tax your grip strength. Now that I think about it, when I first started these, I was doing them with 30 pounds, and that was because I couldn't hold on to the dumbbell. And I never noticed, but somewhere along my journey, like holding onto the dumbbell no longer became a problem. I remember it was this really big thing for the first 3 months I programmed this lift, 4 months. I was like, dang, man, I can't hold on to this dumbbell for the life of me. And it's weird now. Like, I didn't even realize it. But at this point, I'm holding on to it, and I haven't had that issue for months. Where, like, the dumbbell would be slipping out of my hand. It would be this. And I guess that just goes to show you that my forearms are stronger now, even though I've cut out a lot of forearm isolation that I was doing nonstop for the last few years. And I cut that out, and I started doing this movement. So stop doing wrist curls and start doing hammer curls. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that at all to anybody. But all I'm saying is that there was a certain level of strength in that position that this movement has done a lot for me. I swear by this movement. It feels a little awkward for people at first, but if you have some fat grips, definitely throw them on. I find I can throw up much more weight without the fat grips on that movement. These are some power raises. I was training someone the other day, and they were telling me they weren't feeling these in their rear delts. I think it's a particular movement that you sort of have to train more than once to get the full benefits and the full rewards. I mean, you get more out of that stretch position. I typically, I would like to do them on a flat bench. This gym that I go to right now, there's not a flat bench high enough to where I can stabilize my torso on it. So I do them on an incline. And you see my elbow is a little bit bent more than I would like to looking at these tapes. But I was also going like, the 25 pounds, which isn't anything special, but with an exercise like this, that's probably as much as you're going to go, maybe 30s. And I start doing some cheat partial reps, which these start to burn like crazy. If you've ever done any like heavy weights out of the bottom, you'll definitely feel them. But also after doing something like, 11 or 12 reps of those, you'll feel them. And then I think I just switched over my arm, and I kept going on these. And I'm thinking about swapping these out of my program. The thing with it is that the only other option that I've been rotating these with are the reverse pec deck. And I like having options that are easily supersetted in, things that you don't have to go across the gym for, or like, have to wait for, that I can just toss in. So anything with a bench. Honestly, I may just do those heavy swings that you see John Meadows doing out at the bottom with some heavy weights for the rear delts, and that's probably what I'm going to swap these out with. Like I said, I think I've just milked the progression on this lift for so long. This lift has been in my program for 3 years now. Honestly, if you look, like, it's one of the longest lasting lifts in my current program. If you look into a lift and you're like, man, this lift has been in my bag for like that long, yeah, you might want to consider switching up, because I'm not adding any strength to this. I think I was hitting 25 maybe like 6 months ago, and I just like, and some isolation lifts are just like that. And then the onus on you is to keep track of that and be like, do I need to replace it, or am I just still getting good stimulus from it? I honestly, like, looking at these tapes, I don't necessarily like how they look. So I think I'm going to swap those out. And I don't feel like my rear delts are really putting on that much mass these days, too. That's another thing. But then again, I've always got them more for rows for the rear delts. These are some V-bar pushdowns. I was maxing out the stack. And then I realized, like, Alex Leonidas on YouTube, he put out a video lately about doing these even more strict. And that gave me the idea that, like, I was putting a little bit too much body lean in it. Let me get more of an upright torso. Let me get like the elbows tucked in really well. And I actually, like, it reduced my load by 70 pounds. And it's crazy how much of a difference that made. And I still feel the stimulus in my triceps, if not even more. So why wouldn't I just stick with this, milk out progression, go on to max stack, and then look for a different exercise? The problem is I don't know where I go lighter from here. Maybe single arm. I mean, I'm already doing the single arm stacks with the 70s, but there's a lot left for that. So that's an option. This is an S-tier movement that I never hear anyone talking about on YouTube Fitness, right? Like upright rows on the floor with a cable stack. The floor takes away all the shoulder strains that you feel in those awkward positions when you're using the free weights. That plus the cable, like, I've never felt any tweak in my shoulder on this. It's nice and smooth. I think the only reason that people don't know about it is that it's a little bit awkward to set up, and it looks a little awkward too. People might step on you. I had a dude almost step on my face one time. But I got this out of a book. Delanier, I want to say, he's a French writer. And he had this for some scientific reason that I'm not going to bullshit you about. And ever since I tried it, I was like, yo, you're right. This feels so great on the rotator cuff that I can actually push upright rows pretty heavy with. These are reverse curls. I've been like doing them on the cable station these days, man. I just feel like they're more stimulatory than the free weights, and then I do a little bit of cheat, and I even feel like the cheat reps at the end can be stimulatory, even though I don't typically do those for curls. Moved on some decline tricep extensions. I've been liking these. Not much to comment on here. The weight's been, I would say it's not really a plateau. The thing is, I do these so late into a session after doing like 2 or 3 compound lifts for my triceps that it's no surprise that I'm not really going anywhere with these. I'm still slinging up the 45s. I would say if I really wanted to push progression on these, I'd need to move them up. But my days are so stacked anyhow that, not really sure where I'm going to put them in the future, because, I don't want to just keep lifting the 45s on those. This was something that I just felt like pulling out my bag of tricks, because I was like, you know what? I haven't done in a while. Heavy ass sit-ups. And so I saw the GHD and I saw the 100-pound dumbbell, and I was like, all right, let's get going. That, and, I've been looking at my abs lately, and I was like, these abs are strong. No doubt about it. Heavy good mornings, heavy deadlifts, all your compound lifts. But you know what? I can't really say I have a six pack. Like, yes, if I squeeze and I have a pump, you see the definition there. It's like a 4-pack and then like a little bit of, whatever down there, but it's not clear. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. A little bit of whatever down there. Nah. But you know what I'm getting at over here, that, those bottom abs aren't really tight in. This isn't really the movement for that. That's more of your hanging leg raises, but I do a ton of those. All I'm saying is that this might be the missing link. Really pushing heavy loads for reps. Like, this is me doing 100 for 15. Let me get to 25. Let me get to 30 with that 100-pound dumbbell and see where we go. I won't say 100, although 100 for 100 sounds badass. But let me get to 25, progressively start pushing this, because I'll tell you what, this was a strain. This was an absolute strain, man. I mean, when you're in the bottom, it just feels dangerous. That's how heavy the weight feels. And yeah, so I appreciate you guys for watching this. Please don't forget to subscribe. See you all next time.